Welcome into the Perfect Game JUCO weekly college baseball recap edition. I'm Brian Sikowski, one half of the JUCO monster here at Perfect Game. I'm joined as always by Colt Nolinger. Colt, thanks for joining the show, man.
Yeah, always a pleasure to be on here. Get to chalk up some JUCO ball.
For sure. So we'll just quickly run through our new top 10 like we do every week. And for the first time since we've been doing these PGTV shows, we have a new number one. Central Arizona was number one for several weeks. They were undefeated for a while. They had a 2-2 week, splitting games both with they lost to Arizona Western once and they lost to Yavapai once, winning against each of those teams as well. But that saw them drop a little bit, and it's time for a new number one. And even though they had their series this past week canceled, we're going with Walter State, ascending from number 2 to number 1. They're 37-1, but as Colt will tell us, big test this week.
Yeah, like you said, they had the series last week with Volunteer State, ended up getting canceled there. But still another tough series for them in Region 7 play this week with Chattanooga State, who's right now fourth in the region there. So another good test there for that Walter State club.
And number 2, right behind them, Wabash Valley, up a spot from number 3. They're 31-2. Crowder from Missouri jumped up a couple spots to their highest billing of the season there at number 3. LSU Eunice held court at number 4. Eastern Oklahoma State up one spot from number 6 to number 5, their first time in the top 5 this year. Johnson County, another team, up a spot from number 7 to number 6. They're 31-1. Big week for them on tap.
Oh yeah, they got the always scrappy Neosho club out there for 4 games this week, and what'll be another good test for them is as they look to continue that strong start and gearing up here for the region tournament.
And Steve Murray's club down there at Neosho always ready to come to play. We're looking forward to a good series there. Following Johnson County, Sanjak up 2 spots from number 9 to number 7. Central Arizona fell from number 1 to number 8. They remain in the top 10. Iowa Western up 2 spots from number 11 to number 9 into the top 10 for the first time this season. Big series for them on tap this week.
Oh, for sure. They've got an Indian Hills club that's 18-4 right now in region play, and what's shaping up to be maybe one of the marquee matchups in that region here in regular season play.
And rounding out the top 10 is Cowley from Kansas. They are up 3 spots from number 13 to number 10 at 24-5. Some other notables throughout the top 25. Dyersburg State is up 5 spots. They're 27-4, another really powerful Tennessee club. Chipola and Northwest Florida State played a 4-game series this past week. They split it. So we just didn't move them at all. They were number 14 and number 16 heading into net last week. We kept them right there. They just beat the crap out of each other for 4 games. Lansing all the way up to number 12 from number 21 on the strength of a 19-1 start. Coach Jordan Kerr's club there playing extremely well. And we welcome 2 newcomers to the rankings this week. That's Catawba Valley out of North Carolina. They're 29-7, checking in at number 23. They've been in the rankings before, so we're welcoming them back based on several good weeks here. And then for the first time all season, and for the first time since I've been handling JUCO stuff at Perfect Game, Potomac State finds their way into the top 25. They are number 25 overall out of West Virginia, 22-5. Great start to the season for them, or rather not start, great season for them so far. Moving on, we are now going to take a look at a different top 10, and that's this week's college top 10, the NCAA top 10. And we're going to use our dear colleague Vinny Servino's great work there for a little bit of our own gain. And Colt and I are going to talk about some of the players in that top 10, top 12 teams on those NCAA clubs who started their careers at JUCO. And number 1, Arkansas. We have a new number 1 this week in college baseball, and that's Arkansas. And they are doing it offensively with the help of a lot of former JUCO players. Matt Goodhart and Brady Slavins are tied at 297 in terms of batting average. 2 of the better hitters on the team. Both are JUCO guys. Matt Goodhart went to Sanjak in Texas. He's been there a few years now. This is not his first season in Arkansas, but a JUCO guy nonetheless. And Brady Slavins was the offensive player of the year last year for Johnson County. He's got 7 bombs. He had a huge home run just the other night. And you can't not talk about Jalen Battles in this breath as well. From McLennan, hitting 284, playing short at Arkansas every day. The strikeouts are a little bit of concern there in terms of statistics, but still playing really well. And on the pitching side, that's mostly homegrown stuff there for Arkansas, but still have to talk about Brian Costu from Sacramento City. He's got 13 appearances on the year with a 4.72 ERA, doing some work out of the bullpen there. But either way, that's a mostly offensive heavy JUCO collection of guys there.
Oh, for sure. And at number 2, Texas is they're getting a lot of contribution right there at the top, offensively and on the mound from JUCO guys. At the plate, you've got Ivan Melendez, comes from Odessa Community College, started 25 games for the Horns so far this year, and leading them in average, hitting 375 with 8 home runs for what's been a red hot Texas club here as of late. And then on the mound, Tristan Stevens comes from Maple Woods JC there, second on the team in innings pitched with 41 innings, and is proven plenty capable of missing the barrel with 58 Ks. He's 5-1 on the year for him with a sub-3 ERA. So kind of 2 guys right there at the top of production there for Texas, both getting it done, both former JUCO guys.
And number 3, Tennessee. Imagine 5 years ago, thinking Tennessee would be a top 5 club. This is unbelievable what Tony Vitello's done there in Knoxville. And he's done it with some help from the JUCO route. Their leading hitter, Liam Spence, guy from Central Arizona. Actually, he's from Australia by way of Central Arizona, and a pretty unique story there. But he's been unbelievable. He's played mostly every game. He's hitting 405. There's some power there. He's walked more than he's struck out. Either way, big offensive piece for the Volunteers. And Logan Steenstra, who is he hasn't played quite as much, guy from Cowley, but still hitting 316. OPS is over 1,000. Got to imagine he'll be continuing to get playing time as the year goes on. And on the pitching side, heading into the year, they were going to be counting on Jackson Leaf as probably the ace, if not close to it. He's from Blinn before he got hurt. But either way, the Friday guy now, Chad Dallas, another JUCO guy, another Texas JUCO guy. He's from Panola. He's been pretty solid for them, has 60 strikeouts and just over 40 innings starting. Some other guys, Jason Rackers from Jeffco, has not pitched all that much, but still have to love the upside there long term either way. But yeah, good stuff from Tennessee. They, when Tony Vitello got there, were notable for just how heavy they hit the JUCO route. And as he started to get his players in and turn over roster, they haven't had to do so as much. They aren't doing so as much this year, with the exception of Dayton Dooney, who is, maybe the best offensive player in all of junior college baseball right now. But with that being said, still some good JUCO depth on that club that is contributing in big ways.
Oh, for sure. And we move on to number 4 in Louisville, and it's a lot of the same, kind of the same story we've been talking about. But offensively, you got Cooper Bauman, was super consistent performer at Iowa Western in his 2 years there, played in 84 games for them, helping them to a national runner-up, and hitting over 400 while he was there. And he's now at Louisville, hitting 320 with an OPS of 962. Just a lot of the same consistency that we saw from him at the junior college level, transferring now over there with the Cards. And then on the mound, you've got Luke Seed, comes from John A. Logan. 7 games started for them so far this year on the mound with a 1.57 ERA and holding opponents to a under 200 batting average. So a lot of good innings there from Seed for the Cards. And Luke Brown, another John A. Logan guy, kind of stepped in, been an everyday guy for them in the outfield. Just adding more depth to the lineup. Hitting just a hair under 300 at 299, but 24 runs, so definitely key to that offensive production for them there. And Luke Smith, a guy who comes from Parkland, became famous as a bullpen guy for Louisville there, and since stepped into a starting role for them, and really giving them quality innings and a big part of what they've got going on there at Louisville.
Like Vanderbilt doesn't really recruit JUCOs. They get one every 3 or 4 years just as a result of academics. ECU and Mississippi State are both JUCO recruiters. They do so every year, just not a ton of production so far this particular season from guys who were at JUCOs. Although Colt, Texas Tech at number 8, kind of a JUCO guy leading the way on the mound for them, yeah?
Oh, for sure. Brandon Birdsell, they're on the mound for them with 35 innings, 36 Ks, opponents under 220. Been right there at the top for the Red Raiders in and a club that's right there battling at the top of the Big 12. So.
And then South Carolina right there following them at number 9. Big JUCO. Once the new staff got in there, once they took over and they started to turn over rosters, they were JUCO heavy, and we're seeing less and less of that as a team like Tennessee, who finds success, who starts playing well. They don't need to bring in 10 or 12 JUCO guys every fall, and so SC isn't doing that, but they are getting big contributions from JUCO guys they've recruited in the past. Andrew Peters, a guy who with a 2.08 ERA out of the bullpen, pitching extremely well for them. But then their rotation too. Thomas Farr, 3.25 ERA. He's in the rotation. That's a JUCO guy. Northwest Florida State. Brandon Jordan, 3.02 ERA in the rotation, has started 8 games. That's a Cowley guy. They're doing a really good job of identifying JUCO impact guys and getting them to campus. It's not necessarily just filling out depth. It's not swinging and missing at the dudes who should be top 3 rounders. It's bringing in talented players who can help you, but also will get there. Andrew Eister offensively is a guy that stands out in that sense. He's got 7 home runs on the season, hitting in the middle of that order. David Mendham, to another degree, is a Connor State guy who's there at SC, a little bit lighter in terms of production, but still a guy who can swing the bat. But either way, it's prevalent throughout college baseball. It should be on everybody's radar throughout college baseball that these teams that you see in Omaha every year, these teams that you see win super regionals, et cetera, a lot of those teams are made up of JUCO players, at least a couple of them. So if there's one thing that Colt and I both would like to do throughout the course of this covering JUCO like we do in PGTV, it's definitely getting that on radars, on fans' radars. JUCO baseball is awesome. There's a lot of good players there, and you watch them play on TV. You just don't realize it at the time. But with that being said, another great week of the JUCO Weekly Recap. We'll talk to you next week.